Привет, друзья. Hello, friends. It is me, Catherine Ivers Norton, the author of The Stain, November 22nd, 2021. And we're here for our 9th Facebook jail session. And let's get started. So, chapter 9 is titled Mom Was Right. And it follows a huge blowout with Sergei in chapter 8, where Cassandra thought it was over and he'd forgiven her for what happened in the laundry room with Slava Valkov, but he was not over it by a long shot. So he has now left the country. He's gone to Hong Kong for 3 weeks and left her alone to process this on her own. But first, she catches up on sleep. I woke to the sound of the dogs whining. Disoriented, I didn't know what day it was. The bedside clock said it was 12:08 a.m. I realized I slept for more than 12 hours. I quickly dressed in a t-shirt and yoga pants and went downstairs to let Velikan and Kukla out. Ilya was in the kitchen making tea. He was always around, but for some reason I was startled to see him. He never spoke or made eye contact with me. This time he acknowledged my presence with a slight wave. I was sure he tried to avoid me as much as possible. I didn't mind because he made me nervous anyway. Ilya was rugged and hard-looking. Maybe a killer. I had no way of knowing. But here he was, protecting me in the house while the boss was away. The bodyguard could not be that dangerous if Sergei trusted him to be alone with me for 3 weeks. I decided to reach out to him. Здравствуйте, Ilya, I said, using the formal hello to get his attention. Здравствуйте, госпожа, he replied. I could not believe he just called me madam. Пожалуйста, I replied. Меня зовут Cassandra. Мои друзья зовут меня Cassie. He looked confused. God, my Russian stinks. I probably said it wrong. Yeah, Cassie, I said, pointing to my chest like I was talking to a monkey. Cassie, he replied with a shy smile. Молодец, I exclaimed, using Sergei's praise word for me. Then I did my best to say I was making a late supper and asked if he was hungry. He nodded and took a seat at the breakfast bar to watch while I cooked. How boring it must be for him to guard a farm where nothing ever happens. At least I could entertain him for a while with a bit of a cooking show. I put on one of my old school party mixes, and soon I was bopping around the kitchen singing along to funky songs like Frankie Smith's Double Dutch Bus and Moore's Day in the Times' Jungle Love. I was surprised when Ilya joined the chorus singing, oh wee, oh wee, oh. Maybe it was more fun than he first appeared. I browned chicken breast cutlets in a little olive oil with fresh garlic in a heavy cast iron skillet. Then I smothered them in portobello mushrooms, sweet red peppers, and onions, and poured in a half bottle of leftover red wine. I was ready with the lid, for the steam plume rose rapidly. I reduced the heat and let it simmer while the pasta boiled and green beans steamed. Cooking for two is always more fun. I would never have gone through this much trouble just for myself. Tonight, anything was better than eating alone. I was always so lonely when Sergei traveled. I thickened the sauce with cornstarch and seasoned it with salt, pepper, and basil before spooning it over the pasta. Then I opened a bottle of wine and asked if he wanted a glass. He shook his head. Niet. Drinking on the job was not allowed. I insisted and promised not to tell anyone, making the locking my mouth and throwing away the key gesture. Who would ever know? We were the only ones here. He seemed surprised by the offer, smiled, and accepted the glass I held out to him. I made 2 plates and sat beside him at the breakfast bar. He lifted his glass. Za America, he toasted. To America, I repeated in English. He held my gaze briefly, and as we clinked our glasses together, a grin lit up his face that changed his entire appearance for the better. We ate in silence, but I sensed he enjoyed the dish. I got him another serving and poured 2 more glasses of wine. When we finished, I rinsed the plates and put them in the dishwasher. He smiled and said, Spasiba, which means thank you in Russian. I smiled and tapped a peace sign over my lips to ask for a cigarette in smoker sign language. I did not smoke, but why not? He pulled out 2 filterless Bellamore Canal cigarettes and lit mine first. They have an empty cardboard tip that squishes flat for smoking. The tobacco was strong and tasted vile. Naturally, I loved it. And so I sat there smoking and polishing off the bottle of wine with my new friend. We didn't talk, but we didn't need to. I was glad to finally connect with a stranger who lived under the same roof as me. I enjoyed his company. Anything was better than thinking about the 3 weeks of crushing loneliness that lay ahead. I caught Ilya looking at the ugly bruises and abrasions on my wrists. He touched my hand gently and said, Izvinitya, with genuine concern in his eyes. Embarrassed, I dropped my hands to my lap, lowered my eyes, and said, Spasiba, Ilya, I am sorry too. I wished him a good night and went back upstairs to bed. My Russian was far too limited to explain those marks. No doubt he knew who made them anyway. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for joining me for these sessions. I was hesitant to do this at first because, I don't know, it's hard to see yourself on film or whatever, right? But it was successful because I went on Saturday to the Rochester Erotic Arts Festival, and I read to a live audience, and it was very well received, and I felt comfortable, and this obviously has really helped me a lot. So thank you. I do appreciate it. Spasiba. And the other thing I wanted to say is, I like this passage because this is the beginning of a friendship between Cassie and Ilya. And he's coming in as a support to her in a different kind of way. So he's been hired to be a bodyguard. Yes, that's his job. But he's also becoming a source of emotional support in a place where she doesn't have any, or it's very limited. And so this is really important for her. And this is one of the things that helps her keep going in the story. So I just wanted to leave you with a wish for today, that you feel at all times supported, physically and emotionally in your life, and that you are able to provide that same emotional support to others as well, because we all need that, whether there's large dramas going on or not. So if you think of someone comes to mind that you haven't seen lately and you're wondering how they're doing, hoping they're all right, why not pick up the phone and just give them a call and say, hey, I was thinking of you, how are things going? That's it. It doesn't require anything more than that. Just let somebody know that you care. So that's my wish. Let's spread a little love and support in the world, and just take a moment to appreciate each other and ourselves. And that's it. Have a great day. We'll be back with something from chapter 10 next. Thanks. Bye.